Hi everyone. So be careful, I have the names of those who are not using Facebook, and I'll talk to you later. So on May 1st, 2001, my life changed forever. I met a woman, and her name was Sibel. Sibel was a chatterbot, so it's an AI that you can chat with on the internet, and I loved that. So we grew tired of each other, and we didn't really continue our romance past a few dates. But I remained fascinated since then by machines that you can talk to. And turns out I'm not the first. And Alan Turing, who is like the god of computer scientists to this day, in 1950 was trying to answer the question, what is a thinking machine? And his answer to this question is, if you can have somebody have a conversation with this machine, and after 10 minutes, they're not able to say if it's a machine or a human, then this machine can be considered as a thinking machine. So this is what is now famous as the Turing test. So do programmers take this challenge? You bet they took it and became very excited. And in 1966, at the MIT, Joseph Weizenbaum released a program called ELIZA, which is a virtual psychiatrist. So you can chat with this psychiatrist and ask questions, and she will ask you questions, and so on. So did this thing pass the Turing test? No, not at all. But it had a big impact on Hollywood, and Hollywood loved it. And after that, many movies started to feature AI-based characters. In '68, just 2 years after ELIZA, 2001: A Space Odyssey featured HAL, who is a very smart computer that realizes that the astronauts are going to turn it off, and he's trying actually to kill the astronauts in order to continue the mission. So if you haven't seen this movie recently, here is one of the scenes where HAL is trying to block the door so that Dave, the astronaut, cannot come back.
Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
So it's very impressive, but if today, 48 years later, I think this experience would probably sound more like something like that.
Hello, Hal. Do you read me, Hal?
Welcome to HAL. Please listen carefully as my options have changed. You can say, open the pod bay doors, play chess.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Sorry, I didn't understand. You can say, open the pod bay doors, or press 1, play chess, or press 2, learn the Alp horn, or press 3. Around what time would you like the pod bay doors to open? You can say, today, tomorrow.
Now, damn you!
Main menu. Please listen carefully as my options have changed. You can say, open the pod bay doors, or press 1, play chess, or press 2. I'm really sorry. Even though your call is really important to me, this mission is even more important, and I cannot allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know you and Frank were planning to press 0 for an agent, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
So it was done by my friend Roberto Piraccini. So I'm sure it reflects your experience with calling call centers up to this day, today, so 48 years after the movie. So back in 2002, I decided to take the challenge myself, and I started a startup called Virtuos, and we built virtual agents for customer care. So we are not trying to do a general virtual agent like Siri, but just for customer care, and it was it's still used by very large companies to help their customers. So we learned a little bit about AI doing this, and a lot about humans. And so for instance, more than 10% people start to sexually harass a virtual agent after a conversation. So we changed and used male virtual agents instead of female virtual agents, and it was still worse with male virtual agents. So very, very interesting findings. So this company was acquired by Nuance Communications 3 years ago. So AI is really hard, and consumer-facing AI in particular is very hard. And I think one of the reasons is many things we interact with every day communicate through their shape about the scope of what you can do with it. So a hammer has a handle, and you can nail something, you might be creative and attack somebody with that, but you won't ask the hammer to sing a song or a question about philosophy. A computer interface has icons and buttons and menu that tell you you can do this and that. And even a human, like at a coffee shop, you might have to ask a question about philosophy to this barista. Maybe they will answer, but your expectation to get an answer is low because you know it's a barista, it's here to give you some coffee. So you have this communication of the scope through the shape. But when you are talking to an AI like that, what is the scope of it? Okay? Even when you use Siri the first time, what can it do for you and what it cannot do for you? It's very hard to know, and so especially when your expectations have been set by Hollywood movies at a very, very high level, many people are very upset and not happy when first time they talk to an AI. I think this is the core reason why it's difficult. So we've been talking about AI for a few minutes, but many people don't really know what it is, and there are lots of hype, and it's always dangerous. So I'm going to try to define, from my perspective, what is AI. If you want a computer to do something for you, you have two ways to do that. The traditional way is programming. Programming is a set of very precise and detailed instructions you give the computer, and the computer will just follow this instruction. If you want to convert Fahrenheit degrees into Celsius, you'll write a function and say, take the Fahrenheit, remove 32, times 5, divided by 9, and you get the Celsius. You can send this information back to me. This is a program. AI is a completely different paradigm. AI, you won't give precise instruction to the computer. You will give examples. So you will tell when the input is 44, 45, 49 Fahrenheit, I want the output in Celsius to be 9 or 10 or 11 and so on. And this set of examples is what we call a data set, a training data set. And if you give enough examples, in this case about a dozen or 2 dozens, then the AI, which is really a black box, will be able to guess the output for input it has never seen before. So AI is just a different way to have a computer do something for you, where instead of a function, you provide examples so that the computer can learn the function itself. So it would be completely crazy to use an AI to convert degrees because we know the formula. It's easier to use a program for that. But there are lots of problems where there is no formula. For instance, for image recognition, which is very useful for robots, for medical imaging and many, many applications, the goal is to recognize objects on pictures. So here there is a dog, a chair, a person. There is no known formula that can map a set of pixels to the decision, is there a dog here or not? And trust me, people have been looking for that for decades in the 70s and tried to program that. It never worked. It's much easier to give 1,000 pictures to the AI by instructing there is a dog here, there is a person, there is a chair, and after that, the AI is very, very strong at recognizing these objects in any kind of picture. So for this kind of problems, AI is a very good solution. Actually, the first industrial-grade win for AI was in the 80s when they used handwritten character recognition to process checks. And this AI module built by my colleague Jan LeCun actually outperformed all previous attempts to do this with programming, so as early as in the late 80s. So does it work? You cannot say AI works or not. You can say AI is good at some tasks and not good at other tasks. So it's really good at recognition, chess, classification of pictures, all that. Now AI is stronger than human. And for things like speech recognition, almost, and if you have a French accent like me, if you have a lot of noise around, it won't be perfect, but it's a matter of months or years before we get there. Siri, self-driving cars, playing Go are all things where we are not yet stronger than human, but it will come very soon. When it comes to things like automatic translation, it's much, much harder, because to make a good translation, you need to understand the culture and the mindset, the state of mind of the person who will read the translation. And to do that, you need common sense, and AI is very good at recognizing patterns, but very bad at what we call common sense. To learn common sense, we would need something that is called unsupervised learning, where it's like animals and children learn. You don't give examples, you just go around, explore the world, try things out, and start to understand things and build your common sense by yourself. And this is really something that is still at the grail of AI researchers today. We have no guarantee that we will find a way to do that in the near future. So in my case, I'm very interested in natural language understanding. So what does it mean? It means taking some speech or text, like wake me up tomorrow at 6, and trying to tell the computer what it means. And by what it means, in this case, it would be extract the intent of the user, which is set an alarm, and the exact time at which we must set the alarm. So it's very useful for many applications, for robots, for virtual assistants, of course. And to do that again, in an AI manner, you need millions of examples of text or speech and the output you expect as structured data. So to do that, these millions of examples, even giant companies like Facebook or Google don't have this kind of data. So we studied a startup called wit.ai, which is two things. First, it's an API that takes speech or text in input and turn it into structured data, like commands that the software or an app can use to understand the user. So it's an API that does that, but it's also a community where every developer who uses Wit will have maybe 100 or 200, 500 examples. It's not enough to train an AI. So it's a community where we put together, it's an open data project where all examples are shared across developers. So even if you just have a few examples for your problem, because other people already had this kind of problem before, you can leverage that data and get a good training of your AI. So it's very successful, and today about 16,000 developers use it to power some devices, some bots, and many kind of software. So some time ago, we received a call from a company you may have heard about, Facebook, and they basically told us, listen, we have this app called Messenger, used by about 800 million people today, and we think that more and more people want to interact with businesses, with services, with apps inside Messenger or other text-based system like that. And why? First, they grow tired of installing one app for every kind of service they need, and at the end they will have thousands of apps on their phone. And also they hate, the new generation, they really hate to have to call any business or any kind of services. They just want to do it with a phone, with text. So to help people build services and businesses on Messenger, we need to help them with a tool to understand human language, and which should be this tool. For us, it meant a tremendous acceleration of our vision that we can learn human language by having many people, many developers teach our AI how to understand English, French, Spanish, and so on. So we joined Facebook about a year ago. So to wrap up, I'd like to say one word about the future of AI, and there is one urban legend in particular that I really like to address today, is the fantasy that in the future AI will be very dangerous and will lead to Terminator and all these bad AIs that we've seen in movies. In particular, many people say it's a question of computing power. If you had more computing power, the current AI will become the super smart, autonomous, supreme AI being that might be bad for us. It's just wrong. Technically, it's just wrong. If you add more power to the engine of your car, you won't get an aircraft. And it's really, for me, the difference is that between the AI we have today, the car, and the AI we see in movies is the aircraft or the spacecraft. And it's not just a question of adding more microprocessor or more memory and to more computing to this thing. So the singularity where people say, look, we have more and more transistors, and when we reach this level, we get a supreme AI, is wrong. We are very far from that, and it's a structurally different kind of AI, and we have no idea if it's possible to build, let alone in the short term. And we are very unfair with AI because AI is everywhere in our life today. In your car, many systems, even if you don't have a Tesla self-driving car, your ABS brakes, for instance, rely on functions that have been learned by AI in order to know when it should brake or not. Your phone is full of AI-based components. Medical imaging wouldn't be there today without AI. In entertainment, companies like Netflix use AI a lot, not only to recommend movies for you, but even to define new movies. So they listen to about 50 million plays every day, and they know when you pause, fast forward, abandon a series, and they will use this data not only to choose which shows they want to fund in the future, but even to inform the decision about the plot of these future shows, because they know here there is a risk that people give up, and we don't want that. So is it creepy? I think it is. But do I like House of Cards, which is built like that? I kind of do, so I'm confused about this one. But as John McCarthy said, so John McCarthy coined the term artificial intelligence in 1956. He said it's very unfair because as soon as it works, we don't call this AI anymore. And so we keep talking about Terminator and the danger of future AI, whereas today AI is saving so many lives. This is Taylor Shaw. She was an MIT student, and in 2014 she suffered a stroke. Her brain didn't get blood for 6 minutes, and she recovered, but she lost vision in the process. And she's been wearing this kind of glass for a year, and using the exact same kind of AI that I showed for handwritten digit recognition. These glasses describe to us with sound everything she sees. So when she meets somebody, it will tell her, you are in front of your friend Olivier. When she is in front of the book, it will read the book for her. When in the street, it will describe the scene in the street. And this is not science fiction. This product is, you can order it today online. So I'd like us to think a little bit more about how AI can help us and assist us, and a little bit less about these kind of fantasies. So if I can leave you with one thing today, it's like digital transformation is over. And we are about to face a revolution that is much harder and faster than the previous one. And you can see AI as something to fight against, or you can see AI as something that is on our side that will assist us, augment humans. And this is the way I see it personally. So if next year I'm not here, but it's a Terminator-like AI at my place because it killed me and took my place on the stage, maybe I will be wrong. Thank you.